Hey, Shalom, Meshach. I want to start off as always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kadash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honors to brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. This one's inspired off this video from Apostle Rhymelab. I thought I'd actually done a video on this before, but evidently not. Like I really feel like I know I've mentioned it within videos, so I just thought to give it its own like dedicated video. And this is just an explainer as to why the US has such an issue with with America, with Turkey rather, getting the S-400 system right from Russia, right? And so I'll read it. This is an old article, so I'm pretty sure I couldn't find the vid, right? This is 10th of July 2019. Right, explain S-400 missile system controversy. It says manufactured by Russia, the S-400 surface-to-air missile system, you might see that as SAM, right, is considered as one of the most advanced air defense systems in the world, right? It poses a direct challenge to America, which, from what I've read, look, the S-400 is kind of like in a class of its own, and the S-500s even more so, and dad systems, right? Yes, and the thing is, I remember when Syria, sorry, the West shot missiles at Syria, and that was the S. Syria only has the S-100s, and from what they were saying, the S-100s did quite a decent job. And when you look at how old the S-100s are, you're going back quite a while. I believe maybe even before the turn of the century. In fact, let me just check on my laptop real quick, so if you bear with me. Right, no, don't mean a protein. To it like that. Still don't mean a protein. S-100 SAM. Was it S-200? Yeah, so the S-200s have been in service since 1967. So I don't know whether I forgot now. Now I'm questioning whether Syria had the S-100s or the S-200s, but basically had these older models, and that was pretty much able to thwart all of those missiles. That basically a rather good chunk of them that basically was shot by the West. I think this is going all the way back to when Obama was still in power when they basically attacked Syria, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, this was Russia providing this information. So, they're still Edomite. Psalms 58 and 3 still applies to them. Okay. So they're basically saying it caused minimal damage, basically, and that's all the S-200s. Like we said, 1967. There, right? It says the S-400 is a massive upgrade on the S-300, which was earlier used in the war in Syria, right? Says its radar has a range of at least 600 kilometers per second for surveillance and 400 kilometers per second for missiles, right? According to the military experts, right? It says the missile system is also capable of tracking large number of potential targets. Another advantage is its high mobility, right? So, for instance, that stuff you think about right, with by way of America, and how they're able to assert their dominance throughout the world, right? That was by way of those what's the word I'm looking for, by those ships, right? Those aircraft carriers, which allows them to be mobile. So the fact that these S-400s basically are able to be mobile gives an upper hand. Okay. Just what you call those your mid video, you just have to go confirm the information, right? So this is other statement that I made earlier on about the old system that Russia basically had in Syria, right? So this is Russia claims Syria air defense shot down 71 of 103 missiles, right? Says Moscow says Syria's Soviet era systems down majority of US, UK, and French missiles, right? So this is 71 out of 103. It's basically saying um, that's basically what they had. It says it was not possible to verify the claims. The most up-to-date system that Moscow has supplied to the Syrian regime is the short-range Pantsir S-1, which has anti-missile capability. Russia said its advisor had spent the last 18 months rebuilding. So, and this is exactly what these precepts in Ezekiel 38 chapter, right, which I won't go into because like I said, if you watch, it's a very very edifying video. This goes into a lot of the breakdowns, so if you watch that, you get a better understanding of it, Right, but this is what it's saying here. It says Moscow said Syria used S-125 and S-200 Buk and Kvadrat systems to repel the attack. Right, so this is S-125 and S-200s, and as we read earlier on, the S-200s has been in service since 1967. Right, so if if that's the S-200s, imagine just how much more capable the S-3s, the S-4s, and as Russia keeps it themselves, the S-5s, right? So let me jump to the point. Right, it says the S-400 is also Russia's most marketable product. So, despite opposition from the U.S., many countries, including America's allies like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, have also shown interest in buying the military hardware. Right, because at the end of the day, these countries, they're just gonna buy what works best for them. Right. As in 2018, China and India signed agreements with Russia to purchase the weapon system. Turkey's $2 billion US deal with Russia is facing stiff opposition from the US and NATO. And this is up from remember correct. This is the point, right? So it says, as a member of NATO, Turkey boasts the second largest army within the military organization. That's why they keep saying it's a strategic partner. It's a strategic partner, right? And also, its proximity to Russia makes it important as well. Okay, it says Washington says S-400s are not compatible with NATO's defense networks. It also fears that if Turkish military operated both the F-35 stealth fighter jets and the S-400s, it would allow Russia to access sensitive information about the advanced jets, right? So this is actually isn't actually the one that, but I remember saying is it's to be able to identify which is a enemy aircraft or whatever, what have you, or something to that effect, right? So basically, the F-400s need to be trained to know what Turkey's F-35s look like in the eyes of that system, right? So basically, if they know how Turkey's ones look like, then they get a better example of an understanding of how the rest of the F-35 fleet look like, right? So it says, so it's not just a thing of like, yo, you can't get our missiles if you can't get our jets if you basically get the S-400. There is a strategic reasoning behind that ideology, but behind that sentiment rather, right? So it'll be interesting to see what's there, right? But what was interesting also is based talking about America's allies, also wanting some of these. And Turkey used to be a very strong ally, but like I said, the precepts say that that is going to come to an end, right? But the reason why that's interesting is because ultimately in the last days, all of America's allies are going to turn against her, right? This is Jeremiah 50:14. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon, right? Which modern day Babylon is America, right? Round about, all ye that bend the bow, right? And what's this talking about? This is talking about like a bow and arrow. This is talking about these ICBM nuclear missiles, right? So basically saying all you nations that have ICBM capability, right, shoot at her, right? This spare no arrows, right? So don't say, nah, I'm gonna save this last ICBM for Russia. Not shoot all of them, right? Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh, right? And this is why these things are going to be happening, right? Because ultimately, you've had a lot of bloodshed of the children of Israel in that land, right? It's a filthy land. That's been the land of our captivity, and the Lord is going to make it an example unto those that should live ungodly. He's like, look, this is what happens, right? So this is Exodus, Numbers 35:33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Right. So there's a lot of bloodshed on the land of America, starting off with the Northern Kingdom. If it was Gad and Reuben, right? Which we known as a Native Americans and Seminole Indians, right? And then would you call then the bulk of the slaves came over from the west coast of Africa, etc., to the Americas, right? And then they got slaughtered, man, right? A load of our people have been slaughtered over in that land of America, so it's only right, that it goes out the way that it has, that it will, right? For all of the blood that has been shed therein. But like I said, that was just a quick one, explaining why the S-400 missile system is such a controversial issue in terms of Turkey getting these systems. So, as always, laws what I was edifying. Until the next time we say Shalom.